Good morning. I'm Dr. Eva Wainio, Assistant Dean of Student Affairs. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Wayne State University School of Medicine Clinicians and White Coat Ceremony. We are so glad that you have joined us for this special occasion, and we are so proud of our students, the fantastic class of 2025. In summer of 2021, you were supposed to attend a white coat ceremony, paused as so much of life was, and then changed to match how you have changed, into a clinician and white coat ceremony as you stand on the cusp of your clinical life. Now your hard work will come together, and you will witness how a healthcare team comes together with a combined level of knowledge and skill to help a fellow human being. You are part of this team and belong to this group, a group that continues the long tradition of caring for others, of having the privilege and honor to take part in some of the most intense, most challenging, most exciting moments in the lives of patients. The patients that you meet this year and all the years that follow will teach you about life, relationships, strength, and resilience. They will teach you how hard and how important it is to ask for help. And you'll hold on to these lessons long after a rotation ends. This ceremony marks the beginning of a year filled with so much personal and professional growth as you continue your journey to become a physician. I'm excited for you and for the experiences ahead. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Weil Sacher. Dr. Sacher is the Dean of our School of Medicine. As Dean, he oversees the Office of Medical Education, the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, the recruitment and evaluation of department chairs, and the recruitment and evaluation of School of Medicine-based center directors. Dr. Sacher is a nationally recognized academic pathologist with a track record of independent and collaborative National Institutes of Health funding and with seminal contributions in the field of genitourinary neoplasia and prostate cancer in particular. He has also assumed leadership roles in professional and community-based organizations, including the National Arab American Medical Association and the Arab Community Center for Economic and Social Services. Most importantly, he is very student-centered and committed to the family of the School of Medicine. Please give a warm welcome to Dean Sacher.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wainio. Appreciate the nice introduction, and when Dr. Wainio talked about it, something caught me in what she said. It's very important to know when and to be able to ask for help when needed. Dr. Wainio, in her role as the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs and Wellness for the university, comes from a very good place with these recommendations. First, let me welcome the families and guests. We are honored to have you here at the Wayne State University School of Medicine on this great occasion. To our third year, physicians in training, congratulations. The faculty and I share your pride and excitement as you embark on this stage of your career. You have worked very hard to reach this stage. A couple of years back, you were selected among about 9,000 to 10,000 applicants to Wayne State University Medical School. The school saw in you the promise of great physicians, of great human being, attributes that always characterized the students and graduate of Wayne State University School of Medicine. excellent scientists, excellent clinicians, but also with a heightened sense of community commitment, of passion towards their patient, and of the ability to become physician leaders. You're about to meet new teachers. Some of them you have seen during your first year, and some, the clinicians in hospital, on the front line, taking care of the patients with you, and in between the students and the faculty, you will meet the residents that you also will become one of them in a merely 2 years. So your horizon of dealing with a team of healthcare will expand. And in addition to that, a constituency that you will meet in the hospitals in particular will be different from those. It will not be individuals in white coat. It will be your patients, their families, at their most vulnerable time of need for your skills and for your compassion. So with that said, we welcome you to your next phase in your training at the school, and welcome to this ceremony. Have a great occasion. Thank you.
Next guest is our Senior Vice Dean of Medical Education, Dr. Richard Baker. Dr. Baker is a medical graduate of Harvard Medical School and Massachusetts Institute of Technology and trained as an ophthalmologist. His postdoctoral training included a fellowship at the Joslin Diabetes Center, Harvard Medical School, and a National Institutes of Health Fellowship in Chronic Disease Epidemiology at the University of Minnesota School of Public Health. Dr. Baker joined the School of Medicine in August 2015 to lead the modernization of the medical education curriculum and to address accreditation standards. He has held a number of key leadership positions at Charles Drew University of Medicine and Science before joining WSU, including Provost and Dean of the College of Medicine. He also served as the Associate Dean for the UCLA David Geffen School of Medicine. Please welcome Dr. Richard Baker.
So thank you and good morning. Good morning. It is a good morning. As you begin your third year of medical school, you may be a bit unsure of yourself. In fact, you may be downright frightened. I know I was when I was in your shoes, and you should be frightened. That apprehension that you feel is important. It is a sign of the awe, respect, and sense of responsibility that the practice of medicine continues to instill in you. Value it as a spark that hopefully will shine throughout what we hope will be a long and fulfilling medical career. Our excellent faculty have prepared you well over the last 2 years and trained you for this latest transition. As you begin your rotations in the hospitals and clinics, people will start to place the ultimate trust in you. That trust is sacred, and you must always treat it as so. We have prepared you for this, and you will be successful. Your job is to listen, to ask questions, and to explore. To explore medicine, to explore the health system and where you will provide care. Most important, explore your qualities as a physician. As someone who interacts with people in their times of fear, need, and vulnerability. What you learned this year will serve you well, long after you earn the title of doctor. In our modern day world, symbols yield power. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, you were denied the traditional initiation into the medical school, the white coat ceremony. Today, you will be cloaked in that coat, an act that signifies that you are a true physician in training. and an important symbol of your journey into medicine. While the white coat ceremony is an important tradition, remember that the coat does not make the physician. The sense of care, of concern, and most of all, of sensitivity to your patient's needs make the physician. I know you have that sense of care and desire to help, and as we pledge, to never do harm. You are training to become members of a special breed. Always remember that you are extremely fortunate to be engaged in the most honorable of professions, healing your fellow human beings. Congratulations and Godspeed to the class of 2025.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Piero Simone, Secretary of the Medical Alumni Association and proud 1995 graduate of the School of Medicine. Dr. Simone is a board-certified ophthalmologist who specializes in advanced cataract and refractive surgery. He founded the Simone Eye Center in 1999 and continues to serve as president and medical director. Dr. Simone is passionately committed to our students and likely holds the record for hosting the most dinner with a doc meals. He certainly did his part to keep the restaurant Lumen in business these past few years. Please give a warm welcome for Dr. Simone.
Thank you, Dr. Wainio. Welcome, class of 2025, to the Wayne State University School of Medicine's Clinician and White Coat Ceremony. I am Dr. Piero Simone, class of 1995, and second vice president of the Medical Alumni Association Board of Governors. I am honored to be here representing the Medical Alumni Association and thrilled that my daughter, Madeline, is a member of this class. I know 100% that every parent in this room and family member is beaming with pride today. Unfortunately for Madeline, I'm sure who's very embarrassed right now, I have the microphone. This is a truly exciting time in your medical career. This is when your education transitions to your training. You've built a foundation of knowledge about health and disease. Now it's time to put that knowledge into practice. This is what you've been looking forward to. This is why you choose a life of medicine. Bad cafeteria food, the smell of C. diff in the morning, patients telling the attending a completely different story on rounds. It's glorious, it really is. Instead of studying notes, watching lectures, and reading books, you'll be interacting with patients. You'll be checking on labs and performing procedures. It will be challenging, but it will also be equally rewarding. Soon you'll get the fulfillment that comes with helping a fellow human who has entrusted you with their health and their life. Now is the time to go beyond medical knowledge and to hone the other skills that are so important for a physician: empathy, communication, compassion, leadership, altruism, teamwork, and professionalism. From this point on, you'll be expected to work on every aspect of being a physician. Embrace every experience, as there's something to learn in everything, even disimpacting a bowel. Oh, I remember it well. Spring '94, Detroit Receiving Hospital. You'll have the help and support every step of the way from attendings, residents, fellow students, nurses, and most importantly, from your patients. The clinical experience at Wayne State School of Medicine is exceptional. Program directors from residency programs all around the country consistently are impressed when our graduates function at a level of resident from day one. Is this the time to mention the 100% match rate? I know all of you have heard about imposter syndrome. There are definitely times that you're going to feel like you're just pretending to be a doctor. You kind of are. That's okay. It's part of the process. Here's the great news, everyone. You won't be dull in conversations anymore. Instead of boring friends and family with the details of how amazing the kidneys are, you'll actually have fascinating stories about patients' struggles and their triumphs. This is what you've been waiting for. As you move into your clinical rotation years, please remember that the Medical Alumni Association will continue to be here to offer you support and guidance. For example, we can connect you with alums who practice in specialties that you might be interested in pursuing, even facilitating dinners with those alums. If you are interested in participating in externships or out-of-town residency programs, we can help find alumni for you to stay so that you can save some money. And of course, we will be here to offer career advice, counseling, and sometimes even just a shoulder to cry on. Whatever you need, the Alumni Association is here for you. So, on behalf of the Medical Alumni Association, we wish you great success in the next exciting phase of your medical education. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Dr. Simone. I'm Dr. Margaret Chadwell, Associate Dean of Student Affairs and Career Development, and I am, more importantly, a proud alum of this school. And I'm now having the pleasure of introducing another wonderful alumni for your keynote speech today, and that is Dr. Scott Yackel. Dr. Yackel is a senior faculty and the Director of Student Affairs for the Family Medicine Residency Program at Corewell Health. He is an established clinical associate professor of family medicine and public health sciences with Wayne State University School of Medicine. For 25 years, Dr. Yackel was a core instructor for our physical diagnosis and clinical medicine doctoring course. He serves as a frequent speaker and faculty advisor for multiple student organizations, including the Family Medicine Interest Group that has been recognized as a national program of excellence several times, the Christian Medical and Dental Association, and the Married in Medicine Student Org that's just really getting off the ground. He is a procedure guru. And each year, generously, he conducts procedural workshops for our medical students, like bringing in, there's Dr. Yackel, he stopped at the butcher shop, got some pig's feet to show you how to do suturing. And so he's done that for many, many years. His clinical teaching ability, depth of clinical experience, and his level of student engagement are truly remarkable. It is no surprise that he has been the recipient of the Family Medicine Preceptor of the Year Award 6 times, and the annual Voluntary Faculty Award enough times that we literally all have lost count. I called around. I mean, I checked my own records. I called the department. Everybody lost count. I think it's at least 15 times, right? And that award is not easy to get. Out of the several thousand faculty, he won that award. That's a Senior Choice Award, Senior Student Choice Award. In 2016, he was recognized as Michigan's Family Physician of the Year. And anyone who has ever had the pleasure of seeing a patient with Dr. Yackel can attest to the almost sacred quality that happens in the examination room, something we all strive for. It is everything you would idealize your doctor-patient relationship to be. Here is how one of our senior students recently described it. I know I'm getting as long as the keynote now, but bear with me. Every exam room, the student says, that he enters, he gives that patient his undivided attention and considers all aspects of a patient's life when evaluating their health. Not only is he truly empathetic and hands down the best primary care physician in Michigan, he is also a one-of-a-kind mentor to every single medical student that he encounters. Even if a student has no interest in his particular specialty, he finds a way to keep them engaged and involved, and I think he's turned quite a few. He allowed myself and other rotating students to be involved in procedures, physical exams, and interviewing his personal patients. I was able to see Dr. Yackel from the eyes of his 30-plus year-long patients. The amount of endearment they have for him is inspirational, and the fact that he trusted me to work up his patients was very meaningful. Every student that I know that had the chance to work with Dr. Yackel leaves the rotation feeling a sense of connection to him, and they also leave with a new mentor. He consistently goes out of his way for all his students. He'll never say no. Dr. Yackel wholeheartedly deserves recognition for all that he does for his students, patients, and Wayne State. He is the reason I chose the specialty that I'm going into, and I'm sure that he has had measurable impact on all students similarly. Dr. Yackel is the first person that instantly comes to mind and embodies what it means to be a well-rounded, culturally competent, and compassionate physician. Now, I gotta let you know, his practice is full, so don't, after all this, I'll storm his office and call for an appointment because, yeah, that's not gonna happen. As committed as he is to his patients and profession, Dr. Yackel is also a dedicated family man with his wonderful wife, Beth, his 5 children, and he serves in his local church. He is an avid hockey player with medical students often joining him on the ice after hours. And I was fortunate enough to train under Dr. Yackel. In fact, he was my chief resident, and I tell him that he still is. When my youngest daughter fractured her leg at age 2, Dr. Yackel was the first person I called, and I've done so for the 25 years that he has now cared for my own family. His collegiality, his rock-solid expertise, leadership, and friendship are among the greatest blessings in my life. As a Wayne alumni, Dr. Yackel sat in your place once, and I'm certain he will give you his best send-off to core clerkships now. Dr. Yackel.
Good morning, and thank you, Dr. Chadwell. I don't know if I think you just be nice to people and they say good things about you. Keep that in mind. It never hurts. Thank you, Dr. Chadwell. She's been a great friend and a colleague, someone who I've admired for years. It's amazing how someone was your resident, your intern, now becomes your boss, now that I report up to her now. So it's quite a step. She's been a tremendous source of strength for all of you over the past few years. Been a great amount of turmoil going on, and her and Dr. Steffies have done great things, and I appreciate them very much. So thank you, Dr. Chadwell, for inviting me here today. Thank you, Dean Socker and Assistant Dean Baker and the rest of the faculty who are here with you. It's a great honor to be here with all of you today. To those who are before me today, who are courageous, diligent, and committed to receive and to accept this great responsibility of this white coat and this stethoscope, I commend you. It is a great honor and privilege to share this special moment with you as some of the most intelligent, some of the most determined, and some of the most hardworking people throughout all the world. I know Dr. Sprague does an amazing job bringing you all here, and he never ceases to amaze us. Last Friday, we celebrated with your fellow upperclassmen, an amazing day, rejoicing with them on match day, as we heard 100%. It's amazing your school does all of that to get you where you want to be. They do a tremendous job in working with that. And it was wonderful to rejoice with them on their match day as they found their way in medicine, and they took their white coat and their stethoscope to serve in their chosen field. But now, today we come back here to reset, to recommit, to invigorate you and encourage you as you step nobly into the realm of clinical medicine by receiving this white coat today and this stethoscope. But before you do, just take a moment to remember this great cloud of witnesses that are behind you. We are all very blessed to be here today. Before your coat is placed upon your shoulders, remember now those up there around you who have helped you to this place and to this moment. A moment of thanks for those who sacrificed for you so you may sacrifice for others, for we do not do this noble calling on our own. So a moment of thanks, my friends, to those around. Thank you, parents, spouses, families, and you all will remember them as you venture into your clinical years. You will need their care. You will still need their counsel, even though they don't know about ABGs, they know about life. You will need their casseroles because you're going to be hungry at times and there's not always time to get your own food from the grocery store. And you will need their prayers and support. Concerning the presentation today, I have this to say. The white coat has long been a revered symbol in our society of knowledge, wisdom, and healing in this world. And as you take your coat today, you begin an arduous journey from learner, which you've done very well at, to a very different position of healer, which you will learn about. In this coat, you will likely experience some of your greatest joys, and you will also experience some of your deepest sorrows. It is a mantle of responsibility, dedication, and commitment that demands your greatest effort and your greatest devotion. The stethoscope, which I'm wearing today and wear around my neck most days, connects us always to our patient. Unless, of course, you go into orthopedics and it becomes a paperweight. Sorry, Dr. Sprague. It is a great metaphor of listening well, often, and thoroughly to your patient, who becomes our exclusive focus when that door is shut, and it is us and them on a moment to figure out what we can do to help them. It draws us near to them. You can't be further than a stethoscope length away. And it allows a gentle touch on the shoulder, which initiates healing. With this stethoscope, you will hear truth that will change the course of a life and be responsible to faithfully, clearly, compassionately, and earnestly explain that truth to your patient. It gives us great joy to pass these emblems on to you today. But before we do that, I just thought it would take a moment to remember some 30 years ago when I was in your position, but we were never in this position. We were just at Scott Hall, just working and then moving on to third year. It's kind of ended second, and you went to third, and that's the way it went. This is nice. So remember, when you're an alumni, keep putting money in. It helps these things, right? All right. But I'd like to encourage you on your journey into clinical medicine with hands-on medicine. You're going to do things. You're not just going to sit and think anymore, but you're going to do things. I remember back to my third-year rotations at various Wayne campuses. They were just amazing. Third year will be different for you. It will be much more physical. It will be visceral. It's going to test your sensitivities. It'll test your stamina, and it will test your character. Now, I'd also like to tell you, quite frankly, it is the most fun a human being should ever be allowed to do, okay? Amazing the things that we get to do in medicine. I remember in medicine, starting with the joy of walking in medicine with a cirrhotic patient, and they said, "Have you done an abdominal paracentesis?" I said, "No." "Would you like to?" "Yes." And they hand you the needle. This is before the day of ultrasound. I know that's a gas to all of you technicians out there, but we would actually do things without ultrasound. It's amazing. Went from the joy of that to the terror of presenting the first morning report when you're up there presenting like you to these people here who look very serious, and you have to know what you're talking about. Learning not to run to codes, because you're more sick than they are by the time you get there. And if you don't know anything else, put your finger up here and stroke your chin. At least you look like you know what you're doing. And if you're careful, you can swipe the carotid barosinus receptor there and slow your own heart rate down, and you can actually think, which is nice. In surgery, I had the pleasure of arriving for 12 weeks of surgery at the VA in Allen Park. Not the beautiful structure that you have here, exactly. Where we got to arrive at 4:30 in the morning to write our notes and to get those notes, see the patient, write our notes, for just the chance to clamber into one of the surgeon's rooms like Dr. Steffi. If you got it all done, you could get into one of the rooms and take care of your patients. There was no air conditioning. You wrote your own orders. You went down and completed your own orders. You drew your own blood, and you took the blood downstairs to the lab. The only thing they didn't make us do was run the Coulter counter. You happily wheeled patients through the CAT scanner because it was the only place that was air conditioning in that hospital. So we all went through there. Every patient went through the CAT scan. Amazing number of CAT scans ordered. At taxpayers' expense. It was great. But I stopped complaining about my early mornings and my lack of air conditioning comfort when I was in the vascular clinic putting on Uniboot after Uniboot for 75-year-old men and some ladies who had served as well. And they weren't complaining. Those who were part of the 101st Airborne Division that had jumped behind enemy lines under fire. And I learned that day from my patients that my life is not so bad, even getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Over in Peds, I remember going in the first night, so be ready, you never know what might happen. They said, that's great, glad you're all here. If somebody needs to be on call tonight, we all stand there bright-eyed, bushy-tailed with our coats like you're going to get, and your ties, and dressed up nice. And the other people stepped back, and I didn't step back fast enough, so I got to be on call for the next 30 hours with my nice shiny white coat and my pockets full of everything but a toothbrush, which would have come in very handy. So always keep a toothbrush around. You never know when you're going to get called to stay a little longer. But I spent a week with a boy with neuroblastoma and a week with a young man who had Wilms tumor. And I got to see sickle cell through the eyes of a young girl. Amazing, just simply amazing to see how remarkable a human soul is, and the privilege that is ours to take care of those who struggle with health and yet are able to go on. In psych, I was at the amazing Detroit Psychiatric Institute. I bet you didn't know that the President of the United States lives at Detroit Psychiatric Institute, right? And I got to spend multiple days with him. Matter of fact, one day he came up and was admiring my tie so much and tried to straighten it up that I couldn't breathe after a few moments. And you're not allowed to hit anybody, so I had to wait till help came, and I didn't turn too blue before they got me loose. I remember that day, from there on out, I knew where my key was to get in and out and make sure I stayed behind that red line, because that was the line the patients understood about. Family medicine won my heart, seeing the value of a family doc to rural patients, really all patients, where they would take their time on a Saturday afternoon and go to the office and sew up a child who had split their head open so they wouldn't have to drive an hour to go to the emergency room and sit there. It was amazing to me to see this person's dedication to their patient, to their ability to care for their mental, physical, emotional, and even spiritual needs at times. OB was my first rotation. Anybody on OB for the first rotation, you're in for a wild ride. It is a wild ride, especially if you're downtown. You are going to get to do more things than you thought was possible for a human being to do. I remember closing, they handed me the suture to sew up the skin on a C-section, and I was on cloud 9. I just won the lottery. It was awesome. Then the next day or two, a resident and I were in doing a delivery, and it's busy when you're downtown, so there's another delivery happened, another 5 minutes, and he said, you got to take over. Have you seen the episiotomy? And of course you say, yes, because you want a chance to do that. So I was there and trying to explain to the lady what I was doing when I wasn't exactly sure, but I thought I had a pretty good idea. When the attending came by, and I don't know whose eyeballs were bigger, mine because I couldn't see what I was doing, or his because he was wondering what on earth I was doing. And he asked me, what are you doing? I said, I'm sewing up an episiotomy, of course. And then he came in and helped out, and it worked out fine. But I did have another amazing moment to spend time with a young woman, and I was just getting ready to leave, and I noticed she didn't have anybody in. She was going through labor. She was there by herself. And I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to stay a little longer today. And I went through watching that amazing woman labor, struggle with her pain, and the amazing joy that she had when her child was born. I learned two things that day. One is you check with 2 fingers, okay? The other is you give 1 finger for them to hold. If you put 2 fingers together, they will break them. So, 2 fingers to check, 1 finger to hold, okay? Take that on to OB. The other thing I learned that day, that first month, that first rotation, which is of first importance for you today, that this is what we do. We stay with them, we listen, we care, and we do all that is within us to make them feel better, because that is what we do. Dr. Michael Wozniak was my great family medicine mentor, practiced for 35 years in family medicine. Adrian was my program director afterwards. He said, Scott, your job, this is your job, and I pass this on to you today, as a physician, is to make them feel better than when they came to see you. That is our job. So, to my newest class of Wayne clinicians, who humbly take this coat and stethoscope, I ask you to remember always, always, always to focus on your patient. It is not the computer. It is not the technology. It is not the facts, although you will use them for good. It is all about your patient. I encourage you to read about your patients, to get them a glass of water, to take a moment to go and rock a baby in the nursery, to put your clean hands eagerly upon the operating table on that patient who you've been following for days so that they know that you are there. At least someone in the system knows who they are and what's important to them. Spend an extra moment after rounds. Have a word of encouragement. Have a prayer, a moment of comfort with them, because that may be all they had that day to encourage them. I ask you in the words of Solomon, whatever your hand is given to do, that you would do it with all your might. From this moment, I ask you for your best effort. I ask you for your deepest compassion and for your utmost commitment to your patient. May God bless you all in this most noble and hallowed endeavor. Thank you very much.
Wow, I have to take that all in. Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Yackel. Our next speaker is a member of the class of 2023. Just matched. Ms. Capricia Bell. Ms. Bell is the president of the Gold Humanism Honor Society, and she'll say a few words about the significance of the white coat.
Hello, my name is Capricia Bell. As the president of the Gold Humanism Honor Society, I want to welcome you all to our first combined White Coat Clinicians ceremony. The White Coat ceremony was designed by the Arnold P. Gold Foundation as a way to welcome new students into the medical profession and to set clear expectations regarding their primary role as physicians by professing an oath. Today, the ceremony emphasizes the importance of compassionate care as well as scientific proficiency. The first White Coat ceremony took place in 1993 at the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons. Grants from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation in 1996 and 1997 made widespread advocacy of the White Coat ceremony possible. Currently, a White Coat ceremony or a similar rite of passage takes place at 97% of AAMC-accredited schools of medicine in the United States and Canada, as well as at osteopathic schools of medicine and at schools in 13 other countries. At the ceremony, students are welcomed by their deans, the president of the hospital, and other respected leaders who represent the value system of the school and the profession. The cloaking with the white coat, the mantle of the medical profession, is a hands-on experience that underscores the bonding process. It is personally placed on each student's shoulders by individuals who believe in the student's ability to carry the noble tradition of doctoring. It is a personally delivered gift of faith, confidence, and compassion. We are here to honor each and every one of you today and to welcome you to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Capricia. Now, what you have all been waiting for, the presentation of the white coats and stethoscopes. As I read the names of the students, they will come forward to be coated by one of our deans or faculty members, a physician family member or mentor, or a WSU alum. All alumni will be recognized by the year that they graduated from the School of Medicine. After you are coated, you will receive your stethoscope and a lapel pin in recognition of you joining the Wayne State University School of Medicine family. Though we've thought of you as part of our family for a few years now. Wear it with warrior pride. Our first group of students will be coated by Dr. Richard Baker, ophthalmologist and senior vice dean and vice dean of medical education, and by Dr. Kevin Sprague, class of 1980, surgeon and associate dean for admissions and enrollment management. The stethoscopes will be presented by Dr. Joel Apple, class of 1984, internal medicine physician and director of the sub-internship program, and Dr. Latanya Riddle-Jones, class of 2008, internal medicine physician and director of the Population, Patient, Physician, and Professionalism course, known at Wayne as P4. The Pledge of Ethics and Professionalism will be presented by Dr. Christopher Steffes, surgeon and associate dean of clinical education. And the pins will be presented by Dean Soccer. Let us begin. Omar Abbas, to be coded by an alum from the class of 2022. And I would like to ask, as hard as it is, for you to hold applause until the very end so we make sure to hear everyone's name. Thank you. Mariam Abdelmaseh. Hannah Adams. Rebecca Adams. And Rebecca is to be coded by an alum from the class of 1988. Jordan Akins. Rami Aliwat. Victoria Allard. Ruth Amwakohemi. Natalie Amodi. Zenwar Anderson. Laura Aravena. What'd you say? The one ahead, thank you very much. My pace was a little too quick, sorry. Coming up is Laura Arovena. Lindsay Archer, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1997. Camilla Arellano. Chrissy August. Bhargav Alu. Mahnoor Ayub. Carolyn Baldwin. Hope Baldwin. Lyal Baltaji. Shreya Balusu. Jacob Baraz. Nicholas Baroni. Sarah Bassett. Lillian Bauman. Mohammed Bezi. Justin Benny. Haya Baidoun. Adrian Denise Bilbao. Becca Billich. Kaylee Bogolowski. Allison Boland. Matthew Brennan. Michael Jane J. Brennan. Alexandra Brevis. Liam Browning. Kiana Kabasa. Ion John Campanau. Aaron Karas. Elena Carrillo. Jenna Carter. Joseph Cavatayo. Nicholas Siniza. Julia Chase. Anyan Chung. Ahmed Schumann. Tabassum Chowdhury. Sarah Chung. Elam Cheesemich. Coded by an alum from the class of 2017. Sydney Colbert. Jack Considine. Matthew Corsi, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1994. Bridget Croniger. Sakshi Das. Connor Dasbach. Liana De La Torre, to be coded by an alum from the class of 2021, OMFS Residency Class 2023. Jessica DeClercq. Andrew Demko. Soham Desai. No, sorry. Okay. Christian Diaz. Joel Drazen. Vanessa Drust. Alyssa D'Souza. Ajith Dupati. Alex Duval. Lucas Andre Edgen. Hadi Alamar. Adam Elder. Shirley Alfashawi. Bria Elrod, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1987. Michael Escobar. Retha Farouk. Chayton Fivecoat. Riyaman Gadum. Srinovia Gandakota. Bhavana Garlapati. Sean Garcia. Mayor Gershatter. Sorry. Sorry. Manoush Ghafouri. Isaac Goldberg. Samuel Gorman. Madison Grafman. David Griever. Coltrane Groves. Michaela Grugin. Our second group of students will be coded by Dr. Margit Chadwell, class of 1994, family medicine physician and Associate Dean of Student Affairs and Career Development, and Dr. Scott Yakel, class of 1992, family medicine physician and Director of Student Affairs at Corewell Health. The stethoscopes will be presented by Dr. Jaira Kumarbach, class of 2001, family medicine physician and clerkship director for family medicine and public health sciences, and Dr. Camilla Arsene, clinical site director at Trinity Health, Oakland. Eleftherios Halkias. Uni Hong. Nicole Ashley Tan Howe. Keenan Harris. Johan Harris. Sadaf Hashemian. Catherine Harris. Tara Hekmati. Olivia Heppel. Abriel Holleran. Isaiah Huff. Sophia Housen. Carly Hubers, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1988. Brandon Hudson. Sydney Jansen. Nudu Jeradat. Zoe Jeffries. Genevieve Joseph Mulford. Nina Juma. Dhruvo Kadiyala. Ideraj Kagathala. Arsh Kaiser. Amir Kalantar. Manisha Kanakarajan. Bashir Caspo. Jacob Katzman, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1995. Cecily Kelleher. Victoria Kelly. Shahreen Khan. George Kides. Daniel Kim. Doohy Kim. Kevin Kim. Matthew Kim. Andrew Kermsey. Joshua Kirshner. Amelia Clayman. John Knapp, to be coded by alumni from the classes of 1987 and 1989. Sadie Nell. Ahmed Kofahi. Andrew Corman. Somika Koneru. Kyla Kosidowski. Shagane Kocharin. Ashley Kramer. Sanika Kulkarni. Abhijay Kumar. Varsha Kumar, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1981. Eleanor Lash. Francis Lozeye. Jason Liu. Quinwin Liu. Nick Livingston. John Lloyd. Johnny Lopez. Erica Lopez. Kathy Liu. Jonathan Luchka. Melissa Lee. Sarah Ma. Saranya Madan. Aaron Madden. Ariana Madsen. Alexis Malecki. Irtaza Malik. Shahroz Malik. Veronica Morogel. Parker Marsh. Shobi Matthew. Jack McConnell. Michael Melham. Devin Mendez. Nikisha Marie Mills. Andrew Mizarowski. James Mao. Neely Modi. Saiteja Mogasala. Kavitha Mohanarajan. Sabrina Montemayor. Chase Morrison. Eunice Moti. Anthony Morocco. Arjun Muralidharan. Matthew Myhand. Our third group of students will be coded by Dr. Pierre Simone, class of 1995, ophthalmologist and second vice president of the Medical Alumni Association Board of Governors. And Dr. Eric Ayers, class of 1989, internal medicine and pediatrics physician and director of student engagement for the Office of Student Affairs. The stethoscopes will be presented by Dr. Andrew Markovitz, class of 1985, obstetrics and gynecology physician and course director of the P4 course, and Dr. Herbert Smitherman, internal medicine physician and president and CEO of the Detroit Health Centers Foundation. The pledge will be presented by Dr. Sarkis Kayumjian, known to us as Dr. K, class of 1998, emergency medicine physician and director of career advising for the Office of Student Affairs. Ryan Nazarino, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1996. Adlai Nelson. Logan Wynn. Isan Nouri. Elsa Nyland. Tristan Papkin. Arthi Patel. Neil Patel. Pragathi Pathanjali. Madeline Patterson. Alejandro Ponce Sepulveda. Nicholas Pride. Rachel Puentes. Victoria Chien. Andrew Rabah. Rumaya Rafiq. Ayla Rahman. Sanjana Rao. Imran Rashid. Stephen Redding, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1987. Caleb Richard. Jonathan Richards. Nicholas John Ritchie. Wouter Ritsima. Amanda Rodriguez. David Rausen. Katrina Rufino. Arwa Celine. Mohammed Salah, to be coded by an alum from the class of 2007. Julia Santangelo. Jennifer Schmidt. Daniel Sedaseri, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1991. Megan Sayerli. Gabriella Schaub. Ria Shah. Vivek Shah. Preya Sharma. Raja Shukfe. Hannah Simmons. Madeline Simone, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1995. Kinan Sinan. Mina Satu. Benjamin Slowinski. Christopher Smith. Sienna Snyder. Karthik Sridasyam. Amanda Stevens. Emma Strevler. Jacob Sullivan. Kia Sweeney. Iyuab Tadesse. Jordan Tall. Eli Tannenbaum. Gökturk Tepe. Logan Thayer. Thomas Tracy. Koshik Tupil. Elise Turk. Karis Tatuska. Yoshio Wagner, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1993. Leah Warren. Hada Orsama. Ariel Winokur, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1988. Christelle Warham. Aaron Wilkie. Molly Wilson. Alexander Wind. Yusuf Yasharlar. Alexandra Yorks. Kathleen Young. Chelsea Yu. Matthew Zabit. Raisa Zahir. Hanya Zamani. Alan Zhang. Caitlin Ziada, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1996. Lara Zrake. And Nicholas Zura, to be coded by an alum from the class of 1992.
I was going to say let's applaud the class of 2025, but we can do it again. And didn't Dr. Wainio do an amazing job with those names? Thank you so much. You guys look really good, I have to say. I know the coat doesn't make the whole thing, but it sure looks good. And there's a few people making their way through the last bit of pictures and back into the audience. But we will continue. I would now like to welcome to the podium Dr. Christopher Steffes, our Associate Dean for Clinical Education. Dr. Steffes is a surgeon who has been a faculty member of the Department of Surgery for more than 20 years. He joined the Wayne State faculty in 1993, and he has served as a professor in the Department of Surgery since 2009. He has a wealth of teaching experience from his years as the Year 3 Clerkship Director and Year 4 Surgery Director since 1997. Dr. Steffes exhibits all of the professional qualities represented in the pledge that you are about to take today. For several decades, he has modeled utmost professionalism in the realm of patient care as a successful practicing surgeon, while also demonstrating these traits in each of his other domains of significant responsibility. He seamlessly weaves these principles into his roles as teacher, professor, mentor, advisor, colleague, and administrator. Dean Steffes' service to his patients, students, the School of Medicine, Detroit, and the state of Michigan, and even his country as a veteran are notable. His immense effort and expertise culminate in his capacity as your clinical dean, where he admirably role models these professional characteristics with an added approach of humility and humor. His steady leadership has been an inspiration to us all and will guide this class through their clinical years. Please welcome Dr. Steffes.
Thanks very much, Dr. Chadwell. Before I start here, a thought just occurred to me after listening to Dr. Yackel's remarks there. They touched me quite a bit, and not just the memories of it, but I want all the members of this class to understand that you can learn more from Dr. Yackel in a half hour than you can from Anki Notes, Boards and Beyond, UWorld, and every other online resource, okay? It's the Dr. Yackels that you'll run into over the next 2 years that will teach you medicine. So pay attention to them. I think it was just a wonderful set of remarks and a wonderful speech. Thank you, Dr. Yackel. Some of you thought that you were getting your medical degree that we were handing out over there. You go, whoa, that's a pretty good deal. It isn't, but it's even something more important that you have in there. You have 2 sheets of paper in there. One is the Pledge of Ethics and Professionalism, and we'll recite that together so I don't have to read it to you right now. The other is the Wayne Warry, MD, Physicians in Training Principles of Professional Identity. We'll talk about those in a second. I just want to note to the class, I told you the other day that we are no longer calling you medical students, that you are now physicians in training, and evidence right on top of this page that we're way ahead of the game there. But we're going to take our professionalism oath, and as we get ready to do that, this is the oath that will guide us through our clinical years, not only medical school, but in residency and lifelong careers. I want to think briefly about the stethoscope that you received today also. What is the meaning of this? What does it represent? Rene Laennec invented the stethoscope in 1816. Now, Rene Laennec was one of the fathers of medicine back in the 1800s, really started medical training at the University of Paris. He invented the stethoscope in 1816 as a way to politely listen to heart, lungs, and great vessels. Before it was just the ear. Stethos, the root word of chest, scope, to examine. Two things you see about me here. I have an interest in history and etymology of words. So the stethoscope is our connection to the patient, our way of hearing what is going on inside. The early model was a short wooden tube with a trumpet shape at the end. You've probably seen those in the old books. The modern stethoscope has tubing that allows us to maintain our professional distance while still connected to the patient. Overall, even as we are listening to the intimate details of the anatomy and the physiology of our patients, we also need to keep our professional distance to maintain our objectivity. The development in revolutionary Europe marked a revolution in medicine. In the 18th century, physicians relied mainly on a patient's story to make a diagnosis, and they would do it by sending letters. Kind of early telemedicine, I guess. Med school was only lectures. It was not necessary to see patients, only to learn from the experts. Only us barber surgeons actually touched patients back in those days. But the stethoscope changed all that for all physicians. Physicians and students saw and examined patients daily, and the practice of medicine became more scientific, empiric, and personal as physicians tried to figure out what was going on inside the body, rather than the old Greek way of figuring out which humors were out of balance. Of course, this was the start of student clerkships too, which is what you are starting next week. There is still a temptation to treat patients remotely, 300 years later. Whether over a Zoom link, reviewing their charts on the electronic medical record before we go in the examining room, or just making a diagnosis and treatment plans without seeing patients at all, or looking at their CT scans. The stethoscope takes us back to see the patient. Is it our connection? Even in modern practice, it is our tether for our connection to the patient. But on another level, it's also the stethoscope that allows doctors to hear life. As Aristotle said, life is movement. And where we hear air moving, heart valves closing, and blood swishing, we know there is life. We rely on our stethoscopes to listen to the newborn's breath sounds, although the newborns usually give us a little bit more audible signal. We use a stethoscope to see when we successfully obtain an airway in a dying patient. We listen to the flow of blood when we assess blood pressure. At the end of life, when we hear nothing from our stethoscope, we pronounce the patient medically dead. Beginning to the end of life, the stethoscope hears life. So although we have many more accurate modes in assessing disease in the chest, we would never think of representing the patient without a stethoscope. It is a key symbol to our profession. In your handouts, as I said, you have this professional oath that we will recite in a moment, along with the principles of professional identity. These, and this is in your laminated paper here, suitable for framing. These were developed by a committee led by one of our former deans, Robert Frank. The committee thought of outstanding physicians who were thought of as consummate professionals, and then we wrote down these words that describe them. This was several committee meetings that went over. Came up with 16 adjectives, and since there are 16 that all start with a C, you think that this was contrived as a gimmick of alliteration. But when you look at them, it is a coincidence of the Latin roots of these words that describe the physician who excels at a professional relationship with a patient. Most of them begin with co, C-O, or C-O-M, using the Latin root meaning together with. Compassionate, competent, committed, conscientious, compliant, collaborative, confidential, community, collegial, considerate, communicative. All of these describe the relationship of the physician together with the patient. The patient-physician relationship described by these words has no better symbol than the stethoscope, which allows our ears to listen to the heart. And the heart comes from the French word coeur, and is the root of our last descriptor, courage. We reviewed the principles of professional behavior throughout our preclinical years. You guys got a lot of modules in those as you were doing your pre-clerkship training, and we'll continue to stress those over the years. At this point in time, we will recite together the Pledge of Ethics and Professionalism. And I ask that all members of the class of 25 stand at this time and recite after me. All ready? All right. I publicly acknowledge and accept the privileges and responsibilities given to me today as a physician in training. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you and good luck in your clinical years.
Dr. Steffes, they were ready to go. They didn't even wait for you and then to recite. They were just wait for it. It's going to be quite a year. Yes. This concludes actually today's program. It was a true pleasure having you all here today with us and to celebrate this milestone event on our Highways to Excellence curriculum. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Celebrate with your families and just take this moment and we welcome you.